You are listening to Quarters and Barra. I am Glenn Quartermain, senior sports reporter with the West Australian. With me, Adrian Barrett of Channel 7 Perth Demons and everything fame. He's sitting here up and about because the Demons have had a good win. We are brought to you by TABtouch. Got the touch? Download the TABtouch app today. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Barra, this week's been all about the Eagles answering questions after that, let's call it, insipid performance against Hawthorn last weekend. We've both been at the coalface. What have you made of it?
Well, the knives came out early for the coach. And in fact, Peter Sumich has been getting unbelievable airtime in the East as well, unloading over there, ending up on Fox, Sport FM 91.3. And he's really getting some traction. And I think when someone needs to have a chat with the great man, I tried to get him to recruit him to coach the Perth Footy Club. It was like him or Peter German. We're talking to both of them. And Summa pulled out at the last minute. He reckoned he didn't have the time to do the coaching properly, what we needed to do, culture change, all that sort of stuff, whereas Germo could do it. Yeah, and being a great of the game, it strikes a bit of a blow, even though obviously everyone thinks he has a bit of an agenda because he missed out on the job when Simo got it, and it was out of him and Simo. Do you know that? You know that,
Of course I know that,
yeah, because you're... So I'm sensing you're not buying in on this just at this stage.
No, I'm buying in on it.
You just want me to fire all the bullets?
No, you're not firing all the bullets. I'll have my say.
Okay. And I sense that, people think he's got an axe to grind, and Summa would admit that probably he has. I think he got told by probably the CEO at the time that, mate, you're an absolute living certainty to get this job. And then I believe Adam Simpson did this remarkable presentation to the board and flipped it at the last minute. I believe Summa went in and talked footy, and the board, like most of them aren't footy heads. Most of them couldn't draw your footy, if you know what I mean. They're business people. And they rely on, say, one board member like Rowan Jones, who's a former, champion. Well,
I think Alan Cransberg was the chair at the time. He's a footballer.
Yeah, and I think Peter Carter as well. So so you'd be directing your talk to them, but the numbers, when you look at the numbers, if it's 7 or 8, you've got to win 5, don't you, to get the job? So 5 of them probably weren't huge on footy. So when Simo came in, he talked a lot about philosophical stuff and also the front office, how the fish rots from the head and that the head has to be sacrosanct. It needs to be looked after, and that's where the club's driven from. And it's all leadership from the top, from the chairman to the CEO to the senior coach. And he gave this unbelievable presentation and blew their socks off. And Summa went from being the favourite to, wow, it's nip and tuck now. And he got rolled. And that's what happened. There was no agendas or anything. It just happened that the presentations were different styles, and the board thought, you know what, this guy, he's the bloke we want at the face of the club. And as it turned out, he did win the flag in 2018, didn't he? So probably, I'm not saying it was the right decision. I really highly regard Summa's footy IQ. Remarkable. I tried to recruit him to coach the Perth Footy Club, so obviously I'm a huge rap, but Simo did put the runs on the board, didn't he? So
he did. I'm I guess disappointed over the journey that I haven't seen Peter Sumich coach at AFL level. I'm not saying Simo wasn't the right man for the job. He did win a premiership. No. But I would have liked to have seen Suma coach. I think he's got to have a very high footy IQ.
And he was in for a few other jobs, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I reckon that he might. I know he's got a lot on his plate, Suma, big family business, etc. But I'd love to see him back in some capacity at the AFL.
Well, he did
level.
A great job with the underages, under 18. They won the title. He probably did more than anyone to get Chad Warner to where he's at. He almost created Chad Warner. He wasn't going to play for under 18 WA. And he backed him in and spoke to him. And
good job.
And I tell you what, he knows he's a good judge of talent.
So just on Suma's opinions, look, I have said for 2 years now, Barra, I invoked the 10-year rule. I think 10 years is too long for an AFL coach. So Shorttey was too long at Essendon. Clarkson was too long at
Shorttey won a flag at the end.
Don't care. It's 10 years,
mate.
What
are you judging it on? If a bloke wins a flag later on, you can't say he was the wrong bloke.
How long was he hanging around, though?
I know, he hung around for a while, but he still got him another one.
How do you know if there was not another coach in there, they would have won 3?
Because the 1993 Baby Bombers was just, it was one out of the box, wasn't it?
It was.
How did they win that?
Exactly.
We should have won that.
So, just back to my point, I think he should have gone last year.
So but ignored that?
It was, but it was, I guess, financially not palatable for the club. So, I think I'm not a believer in changing coaches mid-season, so I don't think they should sack anyone right now. But I think at the end of the season, it's time, and they need a new coach. I really believe that, but
So
I
we
wouldn't
got
do it right now.
All right, so we got Sumic, weighs in heavily,
Yep.
former champion. Jacko sort of a bit supportive of Summer, Glenn Jakovic. Brad Hardy, unloading.
By the way,
perhaps not, as how would you describe Brad's position in the footy world?
Well, he's based in the East.
Oh, yeah, I know he physically is, but how would you describe
By the way, I'll
his stature? How would you describe his stature in the footy world?
Oh, well, he's a Brownlow medalist. He's a very
Hall
good
of Famer.
Yeah, very good broadcaster, and is strong and robust in his opinions, which I love. The only thing I'll question Brad on this week, and I did a little bit on SEN on Monday, and that was great.
They spanked you blokes as well.
Well, hang on.
You got shot in the blow. You got killed in the crossfire.
Well, let me finish.
Good on you for fighting back.
I did.
I'm with you. I know you did, mate.
So
you threw some punches.
So Brad
back.
Hardy goes on air and says, "Oh, there's a paper over there, and they don't hold them to account." Are you kidding me? Are your eyes painted on, Brad?
That's what I'm saying.
Are your eyes painted on? Have you? Are your
So
ears?
you got there eventually.
Nah, mate.
You got there eventually.
And I did.
Because that's what I was about to say.
And I did swing back.
No notice, doesn't go to training, doesn't read papers. Obviously listens to all the Melbourne radio stations and can regurgitate a lot of that stuff. Easy way to do it. And you know what? He attacked the West Australian, and you went to the defence. And
Well,
everybody
we've held
knows
them to account more
nobody
than
has
anyone.
done more than the West.
That's
There's
right.
no doubt about it.
So I just don't get it, and I just wanted to make that point before I went on, and was happy to chat to them about it. And what I said to them was, I've just said to you, I just believe it's time, but not in round 17. What's it going to gain now? Really?
Exactly.
But anyway,
no, hang on.
the
So
week.
let's go
Yep.
through it. So we've got Peter Sumic unloading.
Yep.
Just throwing bombs. Dropping atomic bombs left, right, and
Which
centre.
he's entitled to.
Brad Hardy, same thing.
Entitled to.
Champion player, huge stature, Brownlow medalist.
Been around for a long time, all of them. so
Loved
they're
in
entitled to.
Fremantle. Bobby Mormel loves him. Peter Christie, the South Fremantle president. The whole of the South Fremantle club absolutely loves Peter Sumic and even loves Brad Hardy even more. They thought you couldn't make it, all that sort of stuff. That ad they made about him, wearing the long sleeves, getting burned
Yeah, I
as a
remember the
child.
ad. It's a good ad.
Just one of the great folklore stories. Okay, so we got him. And then Paul Hazelby weighs in as well, I see.
Hayes.
Come in and said Simo has to go. Now, I've been
Hayes
there.
would be great talent, great player, great talent in the media too. So you listen to what he says.
On Sunday, I've written an article about... You remember when I wrote that letter to the Eagles in 92? Did you hear about that?
Remind me.
So obviously got a lot of airplay.
Yeah.
1992.
It's a long time ago.
I missed out on the grand final.
Did you miss out?
I did, mate.
Okay.
And 91. So we're on the plane. We weren't allowed to fly with the actual team. So we flew separately, the guys who were out of the team. So the guys from, say, 23 to 50 or whatever it was, we're all on a different plane. So we're close. Some of us are close to playing. Some of us were nowheresville.
Where were you?
I was sort of in between.
Yeah.
Phil Scott. So I'm sitting with Phil Scott, and we're having a few drinks, and we're not even allowed to stay in the same hotel as the team, lest we get on the squirt and distract the boys. So we thought, what can we do? Scotty, a few bourbons. Mate, what can we do? There must be something we can do to contribute to this premiership, to help the boys get across the line. And I don't know who said it, and we said, let's write a letter. So that was the best we could come up with. Anyway,
a letter of support.
so we composed this letter.
Yeah.
From the guys, dear boys, from the boys who are going to miss their place in history, the gut-wrenching pain that we will experience you won't even understand. Please play hard and do it for us, the guys who will be forgotten. This is how it went, right? Yeah. Just telling them, don't think it's going to be there's going to be a grand final every year. I've played for this many years. I've only played in one. Scotty's played for this many years. He's only played in this many. Please take it for yourself. Do it for the blokes who were there from the start in '87 and should have been there but missed their chance. Anyway, so we sent it off. We faxed it off to Nisbet. We faxed it actually.
Yeah.
It was good fax in those days.
Yeah.
From the
I remember
hotel.
the faxes. Yeah.
And Niswa got it, teared up. The great Niswa read it to the boys before the game at dinner in the hotel. And we got feedback from Dean Kemp and co that, really meant something to them. And so in a tiny, tiny way, we contributed to.
I know you can.
There was that little 1% thing that we did. Now, the reason I told you that
Yeah.
story was
I'm glad there's a reason. Yeah.
I've written another letter
Okay, and you're running
in
it
the
on
Sunday Times,
Okay.
in the STM
It's a
magazine.
good column, that. I do
Yeah,
read that.
Thanks, Bulldust. Anyway, so I'm... Bloody liar. What was I talking about last week? What was my major topic of conversation?
Last week I missed.
Just say dogs. I'm always
No, I was
talking about
busy.
me dogs.
Last week I was busy, sorry.
Someone said, Barry, you're getting too philosophical and too highbrow. Go back to telling gags. That's what they said. Jeff Newman said that to me. He said, stop being Langer. So...
Confucius, I'm going to start calling you.
Anyway, so we go back to... anyway, so I've written this letter. I've said, listen, boys, because I looked in the eyes... In my letter, I've said, listen, boys, I've looked into the eyes of a coach who's been sacked. I'm talking about Damien Drum.
Yeah.
You know, when we had to tell Damien Drum he'd been sacked, we were in that terrible situation, me and Mark Duffield and Steve Nelkovsky, that we knew that he'd been sacked, but he did not know that he had been sacked. And he's at the Duxton Hotel with David Hatt, who was the CEO of the Dockers, who hadn't told him that he'd been sacked. He'd been sitting with him all day, but he had to wait to get a rubber stamp by the WA Footy Commission. So imagine that. Had he had to sit with Drummy all day in a course.
Yeah, they had the lunch,
And in a course it was, and he couldn't even just say, hey, mate, better prepare yourself. There's a tsunami coming. He couldn't say nothing. And, of course, he comes out, Hattie, and he sees us on the stairs waiting for either him or Damien, and he understands. So he goes out the other way. And then Drummy goes up the stairs, and you've seen the vision where I was gutless.
It's a bit like Joe Pesci in Goodfellas when he walks into the room. Yeah. Goes, oh, no.
That's exactly a great analogy. That's exactly. He didn't get killed, but he got killed as a coach. And I was gutless because I said, Steve, I've got to go, and Steve Nelkovsky from 7, I've got to go and do the cross to Melbourne about this. So when Drummy comes up, if he comes up, just say, Damien, we believe you've been sacked. How weak of spiss am I? And Duff, you back him up. And Duff's going, because Duff's a proper journo, he's going, okay. And so Drummy comes out, right, and he walks into us and he goes, boys, how you going? You know, and it's worse when they're happy and cheerful and nicer, isn't it? You know, because you're the executioner. And he goes, so I'm close by enough to hear it all, but I'm not close enough I'm not actually on the stairwell where Nelkovsky was. And he goes,
you've done a runner. Yeah.
No, I'm getting ready for my cross, right? I got my earpiece in and all that. He's very close by.
Sure.
It was about that time. And Drummy goes, and what are you doing here, boys? And Steve goes, Damien, sorry, mate, but we believe that you've been sacked. And Drummy looks straight over at Duff, because he trusts Duff, and he goes, is that true, Mark? And Duff goes, yes. And anyway, Drummy sprints off. And I'm thinking, where's he going? And he sprinted off looking for David Hatt to find out if this was true and say, Hattie, what the hell's going on? But to see his face and the shock and the pain that it caused. Yeah. So in this letter to the players, I've written a letter to get to the players, and I said, boys, please don't be party to an execution. Don't be part of it. Do the best you can.
So you're asking for effort
on the field such that you cannot be attacked, because you can't sack all the players, can they? They can only sack the coach.
Sack some.
And that's how it works, doesn't it? The coach gets sacked.
Yeah, of course.
So the week started with everyone coming for Simo. The first day, Suma, Hardy, Hazelby, Ryan on the news had to ask him some direct questions. And then the next day, we went and saw Oscar Allen, didn't we? And we said, Oscar, is it fair that the coach is being attacked? And he said, no, we've got to take it on board here. And so we're hoping for a response in the Melbourne game. And so that's why I'm saying I'm with you. And I think...
No, I'm not saying... I think, Adam, they need to change a coach, but just not in round 17. I think we've got to see
But I'm not sure now, because I think it's not a linear progression, recovery, right? No. And so you have those little hiccups. I just think that may have been a hiccup. And people say, you bloody Eagles, dickhead, you're just sticking up for the Eagles. But I'm not. I've had a look at the recent form, and you look at the small margins for North Melbourne and Essendon and the rest of them, they're doing the right thing. They had, so it looked like, what happened? Harley Reid looked like he'd been out for a month. He looked flat. Elliot Yeo obviously, we're not expecting anything from him. Tim Kelly looked like he was coming back from a major injury, which kind of he was. He hasn't rucked with Matt Flynn before. Got no idea how that works. Oscar's 2 up, or you always struggle 2 up. So you've lost 3 prime movers in the middle and Oscar Allen. I don't know. I think they're on the right track. Well, I really do.
Have they taken a step forward from last year? They have.
Absolutely.
Because they've only won 3 games, but their margins, clearly the margins are less than they were last year. They were getting beaten by 100 players. I just think at the weekend, that was a worse loss than they've had in 2 years, that one loss. I just think there was a lack of effort and they were beaten across every line. You could only really say Barras and McGovern and Duggan, really, and that's because the ball was down there, mate. Territory, Hawthorn had it. So, look, I just thought it was a really bad loss, and I think you deserve to be criticised for it, and I think the coach deserves to be criticised.
Yeah, no worries about
I thought the side was the top heavy in the forward line. They had no answer to the run of Hawthorn out of defence, and there was a lack of application all over the field. So I thought they deserved to be criticised. And look, I just think it's time. It's been a long, look.
If they fall away,
Yep.
I'll go with that.
Yep.
But if they continue this general progression in the right direction, okay, that was a setback, no doubt about it. But, you can always attack a coach about, you've lost the change room or they're not playing for you. And that's the other message.
It looked like it at the weekend.
That was the message.
So the weekend wasn't great.
I said, boys, if you don't fire, people are just going to come out either with an axe to grind or yourself making an analytical look at it and saying 10 years, mate, you've obviously, they would need a new voice. They're sick of hearing your voice. Maybe you're right, but I reckon if the general progression for the next 8 games, say they win 2, say they beat Gold Coast and North, suddenly 5 wins, Quarters feeling a bit more comfortable, I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's time for a change. Look, it was an interesting week where I thought, talking to Liam Duggan,
we both interviewed him.
Yeah, the players led the review. So normally what happens is the coaches and the assistant coaches lead the review of the games. They looked at it on Monday and they looked at it on Tuesday. Sometimes the players assist with the coaches, but this was players leading the review and being critical of themselves. And we also saw Barras and Duggan speak to the midfielders for 30, 40 minutes during training, pulled them aside. And all that was about...
Really? Yeah, Barras and Duggan spoke to the midfield?
Yep.
With Tim Kelly, Harley Reid.
There were some instructions in there too. And it was... And the review and that chat, really the focus was on all team defence and particularly midfield defence. Now, I'm told that the defence was really dirty on that midfield at the weekend. They were just bombarded.
It was like the Battle of Britain.
So, exactly. So, it's all about team defence. And I think, credit to the players. And Liam Duggan said, the coach, Adam Simpson, he let us do this. So, well done to him for letting him take control and say, hey, boys.
Different voice.
It's a bit like getting, the old days at the Eagles when everyone got kicked out. Moldhouse said, everyone out of the room.
Get stuck into each other.
Wasn't like
an honesty
that.
session.
Yeah, it was honest, but
they're good, those honesty sessions.
I don't think it was brutal, as in really scream and
yell.
No
fisticuffs like we're now here.
No, but it was definitely
blokes punching on.
I'm told very, very honest. So just
when they start punching on, what would you do? Like,
I wouldn't be in there.
No, you would. So,
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Say you're
Barra.
in the 20, right?
Yeah.
Or the 22 it was that day, and
punching on in the room.
Say someone grabs you by the throat.
Yeah.
And so you kind of half throw one.
Wouldn't be quick enough to catch me, Barra.
There's nowhere to hide, mate. There's nowhere to run. Yeah. And you got to go back at them if they grab you by the throat.
Yeah, you do.
And then...
So who grabbed who by the throat? You can't reveal?
I reckon you might be able to know a certain
I know Borry was pretty upset.
I love Borry. But he was a bloke that you would strangle. I hate to say that, but he's a bloke that.
Well, he's openly admitted that day that he was reduced to tears that day. He'd admitted that himself.
I know, because when your teammate says you're weak and you've always been, and see, you always go too far, don't you? Yeah. It's like when you have arguments. Well, I don't know. Some blokes have arguments with people.
Yep.
They often go too far. And you should never go back, should you? Yep. You should never go, you've been doing it for years, or you've always like that. And remember what happened in 1987. Yeah. You shouldn't bring up history. And but then again, dirty washing, you need to do it sometimes, don't you?
Sometimes you do, mate. Otherwise, you've never got clean clothes, Barra. Now.
Or we can go with the rugby version where they go the other way. What they do is they get a bus.
Yeah.
and they black out all the windows, and they get a heap of alcohol, and they get on the bus, and they get a bus driver, and they drive around Perth drinking, just to sort of, for a bond. They call it a bonding session.
Yeah,
that's what they do in rugby league.
The opposite of the party bus.
Yeah,
it's the brutal bus or whatever you want.
No,
to call it.
it's not brutal. It's a party bus.
Oh, is it?
Because that's what I'm saying. Rugby league, they go the other way. They have special guests on board. They just have a unbelievable time.
I love the wallet, the story, and I'll be quick. We'll get straight onto the Dockers next.
You got to tell
we've had enough.
North Sydney.
Yeah, no, but the Wallabies once there was a training camp, and this is fantastic. So the Wallabies are going in the Gold Coast, and they're going across to Stradbroke Island, and those waters off the Gold Coast towards the islands are the most treacherous. Got the highest number of sharks in the world, different species of sharks, right?
Where?
In Queensland.
I thought we had it here.
No, mate.
Or South Africa.
Number of different ones. Anyway, so they're on the boat on the way over to Stradbroke where they're going to have a camp. And on the way over, they've played a video about all the dangerous sharks that inhabit those waters, right?
Oh, yeah.
Then they've walked around and handed them all a plastic bag. And they've said, what's the garbage bag? What's all this? What's going on here? So they park about 500 metres off Stradbroke and they say, all right, in you go. In you go, boys, you're swimming from here. So they had to basically take all their clothes off, put it in a bag, and swim the remaining 500 metres. And I asked one of the force players who was in the Wallaby squad at the time, I just can't remember his name at the moment, Matt Giddo, I think it was. How'd you go? He said, we all crapped ourselves. It was not good. After they'd shown him the video. There you go.
Who was a Geelong coach who used to do all that crazy stuff?
Oh, Blighty.
Blighty, yeah.
Malcolm Blight.
Get the boys to all sit in a circle.
Locked Austin McCrabb out in the out of the room at half time of a game. He's got them round a pool and said, "You're Indians. Pretend you're Indians." And Andy Buse is looking at him going, "We're what? We're Indians? Okay." As in, Cowboys and Indians. It was anyway.
Meditating together.
Yeah.
Moldhouse, there's a famous one for the grand final. The 1992 grand final, which only the 20 players who played know about. Mm-hmm. Like, no one's allowed to speak about it. It's like the secret society, secret men's business. Do you know what it is? And I was at the door trying to listen because I was again being shunned by Moldhouse. Yeah. And I was actually the emergency in that game. And he handed out this sheet of paper and had the insignia of a famous fighting unit. I think it was D Brigade or something. I can't remember. I actually don't know because they wouldn't tell me. Right? And all the boys have still got it. And he went round and handed it to everyone, and everyone was a certain soldier, and this is our battle today, and this is what we're doing. And it bloody worked too. They went out and won. Did. And because you try to do psychological ploys, you can overthink it sometimes because most blokes aren't going to help launch a space shuttle, are they? Let's be honest, footballers.
Now let's get on to Freo because we've got some games to get through and some mail, and we've time pressed. But Freo, so first...
Well, are we time pressed, mate? I thought you said we can go as long as we like.
No, that's okay. No, I've got a job to go.
Oh, do you? Sorry, buddy.
So, Freo,
North
congratulations to Justin. Oh, well, if you want to talk about the NRL, just very quickly. It's moving very quickly, as we knew it would.
So you've written today that Newtown are out.
They're out. Singo's overseas on a holiday.
So that's John Singleton.
John Singleton, who's
famous ad man.
Yeah, he backs the Newtown Jets, who are a foundation club in 1908 of the rugby league with the North Sydney Bears and a few other clubs. Anyway, they're out. He said, too many games between the WA government and the North Sydney Bears.
That's a bummer, you know.
They were never going to get it,
You know
mate.
why that's a bummer?
Why?
Because imagine Singo in Perth. Wouldn't he light the joint up?
Yep.
Like if he came over here for some of the home games,
mate, North Sydney Bears have got Billy Moore. He's a legend.
Yeah, but Singo, mate, he's an ad man.
Billy Moore, mate,
I know he's in his 80s. What about his great quote? Was it to you about now he can go and sit in the sun at...
Well, it's not to me. It was to his mates in the Sydney media. But yeah, Henson Park, which is the Jets' home ground.
So in other words,
go and have a few beers at Henson Park. So where we're at, just very quickly, and we'll move on to Freo. The WA consortium led by Peter Cummins, who's the co-owner of Cash Converters. Peter Tinley, the WA Government Working Party. They've met with Singleton. They met with the North Sydney Bears. So where it's at now is they're getting a bid together. They've received all the bid invitation from the NRL. They're getting it together. They've got to lodge a bid within, it's about another 3 weeks from now. And
so how are they going to do it? So they want to go alone.
So they're talking to
stand alone. Are they going to put two bids?
Their preference is Freshwater, which is the same organisation that helped the Dolphins win an NRL licence. So they're working with them. They're going to work out whether it's better for them to do a go-alone bid or a North Sydney bid. They still haven't settled on that. My money is on North Sydney, Barra. They've offered them, I think it's going to be one less than, I think it'll be one, not two games that they'll play at North Sydney Oval, and the rest will be in Perth. The argument now is things like seats on the board. How many seats on the board do we get? But they have offered them a lot of capital, so there'll be a cash injection from North Sydney. The Perth WA Consortium is quite happy to go it alone in terms of they've got the money, they've got the backing, so they need 30 million to start up and 30 million per season.
They need 30 million.
Yeah, but they reckon they've got it, mate. Even without North Sydney.
And then another 30. They need 60 mil.
Well, no, you need 30.
How much is the government tipping?
No, they won't tip any into the club. There'll be infrastructure, so high performance centre, upgrading of HBF Park.
Again?
Yeah, well, just for that corporate facilities in that Western Pavilion, which is, they need to upgrade that.
Yeah.
But the other side of it's fantastic. It's a good ground. They just need to upgrade that. But they'll also help with the high performance centre. So it's all about health, fitness, promoting that lifestyle and getting some.
So we're not paying to fly teams over and all that sort of stuff?
No. That's all covered by the NRL. So
he's a good man, Peter Cummins.
He is.
And he's very, very, very sharp.
So we
used to have this unbelievable, when he was back in the Reds, when I was there, that played that 1 year. Geez, I've been around, haven't I? Mm-hmm. He had this magnificent Rolls Royce that he used to lend out to Mark Geyer.
Jeez, that's brave.
Can you imagine Mark Geyer driving a Rolls Royce?
So let's get on to Freo. Justin Longmuir, congratulations. 100 games, Barra. 100 games.
What are we talking about now?
Freo.
Oh, sorry, mate.
They are third on the ladder. They're third on the ladder.
It's Wharfie time, brother.
It is Wharfie time. I love that. What was that game earlier in the year when the game was on the line late?
And they played the Wharfie time.
I loved it. Hairs on the back of my neck went up.
I know. It actually... Josh is laughing,
but
it actually was good.
That heartbeat reverberating around the...
I just think the Wharfie is not exactly the bloke that
turn it up, it is.
Off, mate. Do you know?
No F-bombers.
Do you know any Wharfies? You obviously have never been knocking around with Wharfies. I told you the early openers, mate.
Known a few people in the maritime industry.
When Pav started Wharfie time, he clearly has not met any Wharfies.
Okay.
Mate. They're the toughest buggers of all time.
Well, that's what it's about.
But they're the most unionised blokes of all time.
Doesn't matter.
So what does that mean?
Well, that's all right. Your unions are good.
You know what that means, don't you?
Right. Anyway.
There's stuff dropping off the ship all the time.
All right, okay. Well, there's nothing dropping off Freo at the moment because they're going all right, mate. They're going all right. It's good to see Alex Pearce out on the track, Barra. So
yeah, that was a surprise.
Yeah.
Cast off, ready to...
not so much, really, because it's an arm, so you can sort of do some training as long as you're not...
But he had the cast off.
Yeah,
so
it's good,
he's
isn't it?
obviously... Lammy came back after a week, I think, when he put a plate in and just put the guard on, didn't want to lose his spot in the team. It's interesting he's pushing hard with Josh Draper going so well. Mind you, Hugh Davies got subbed, didn't he? So coming back in, obviously Richmond...
Well, Brendan Cox looks likely Brendan will... And we'll get to that game in a minute. But look, Brendan Cox is right in the mix there too, which is really good for Freo.
Oh, so we're not doing this go now? Why are we talking about the Dockers then?
No, we'll get into it in a second, mate.
Okay, right.
We're just
so where are we up to, mate?
General, we're
Did
about
we do this in prep? Was this... What...
Okay,
Don't you follow prep, mate?
We're going to move... This is a podcast. We're all over the shop.
Oh, really?
So I think what we will do next, and then we'll get on to the Freo game, is we flagged this last week, so we better get on with it.
Okay.
Let's pick our WA State of Origin
Got
team.
it.
Right, do you want me to start from the back half, or do you want to go first?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Let's do it.
From the back line, this is the WA State of Origin team. Back line, Mitch McGovern, Tom Barrass, Sam Taylor. Half back line, Jordan Clark, Jeremy McGovern, Nick Martin. Centre line, Blake Acres, Elliot Yeo, Bradley Hill. Half forward line, Shea Bolton, Jesse Hogan, Luke Jackson. Forward line, Bobby Hill, Jake Waterman, Charlie Cameron. The rucks, Tim English, Chad Warner and Patrick Cripps. Interchange, and this is where it gets really interesting. Tim Kelly, Will Powell, Liam Baker and Jeremy Sharp. And that is, with apologies, the players I agonised over. So Jeremy Sharp, I think, has had a great season. He's the sub. Aaron Norton, Cameron Zerha, Alir, Jacob Van Rooyen, Heath Chapman, Jager, O'Meara. All probably a bit stiff not to be in there, but that's my team. Yours?
Just go through your team there and just tell me how many Dockers you've got in your 20, what is it, 23?
So there's one... not too many in there, really, which is a bit harsh, but
Quarters. No.
Two.
No. You can't have two Dockers.
Well, they're all playing interstate.
In
They're
a
all from
state of
Victoria.
origin
I would have
team.
had Alex Pearce at fullback.
Freo top four.
I would have had Alex Pearce at fullback,
Must-
but he's not from here.
Must be heavily represented.
All right.
So you've got Jordan Clark in there.
Yep.
So you've put Tim English ahead of Luke Jackson, have you?
I've got Luke. No, I'm sorry. I have got Luke Jackson. I've got him on the half forward flank. I've got Tim English first ruck, Luke Jackson half forward.
And Heath Chapman, should we look at him?
Yeah, he's stiff not to be in. Yeah, but he hadn't played, has missed a bit of footy.
All right, here's the big one.
Okay.
Seriously,
Yes.
if you're seriously picking a State of Origin team to take on the Vicks,
Who have I left out?
are you saying that you're not playing Nat 5?
No, not in this team at the moment. No. So you are.
Please justify.
You are.
Please justify.
I think
that.
he's been really. I'd say his season has
just
been
towed up Heaney
serviceable.
last week. Serviceable. He just towed up.
Been up and down.
Heaney. Do you reckon he'll be playing against
Under the
Heaney?
pump a couple of weeks ago.
Mate, 2 times.
So he's in your team.
And
So where's
and
Fife
I want to
in your
ask
team?
you about.
Hang on, where's
bench.
Fife in your team?
I want to ask you about Bailey Banfield.
Geez, yeah, he's had a good year, hasn't he? Had a good couple of years. I'll put my hand up.
I think your proximity bias has gone the other way. You have, mate. You should be.
So give me your team.
Anti-proximity
Give me your
bias.
team. You haven't registered.
All right, so I've got Will Powell in the back pocket.
Yep.
Because I reckon he's been super.
Yeah,
Since
he's on my
been
bench.
back.
He's on my bench.
He's been massive. I'll go with you. Sam Taylor, Tom Barras, either way.
Yep.
Jordan Clark picks himself. Sensation. McGovern at centre half back.
Yep.
And you're right, Nick Martin. I've got Jeremy Sharp on the wing.
Yep.
Because I don't
Yeah, that's
suffer
fair.
from proximity bias.
Neither do I.
Non-proximity bias. Chad Warner, I put in the guts.
Yep.
Did you have Stephen Cornelio?
No, I haven't got him in.
Anywhere?
No. No.
Is that because he's missed a few games?
Yep.
So I'll help you out there. So
You're not helping
I've
me
got
out.
him
That's
on
why
the.
he's not in there.
I've got him on the bench.
Yep.
Blake Acres on the other wing.
Yep. Got him on a wing.
I got Charlie Thompson, Jesse Hogan, who's plateaued a little bit, but Shea Bolton, Bobby Hill, unbelievable form. Jake Waterman, I've got at full forward, and I've got Aaron Norton in
Yep.
the other pocket. I'm tossing up Luke Jackson, or Tim English.
Yep.
But then Elliot Yeo, Patrick Cripps, and I'm leaving Logan McDonald off the bench.
Yep.
You haven't got him, have you?
Oh, no, I had him as one of my apologies.
Yeah, and I'm
Jacob Van Rooyen too. He's been really
Nah.
solid for Melbourne. Just solid.
Liam Baker's the other one you didn't mention.
No, I've got him in there.
Have you got him in?
He's on my bench.
You got him on the bench, have
Yeah.
you? All right. So on the bench, I don't know. Have you got Tim Kelly there?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. All right. So I've got Tim Kelly, Stephen Cornelio. I can't believe you left Coggers out. Mm-hmm. I reckon I'm putting Heath Chapman or Bailey Banfield in.
Who?
And
Which
Nat
one
Fyfe.
of them?
All right. I'm going.
He's missed a bit of footy.
I'm going Bailey Banfield.
Bailey Banfield's played. He's played just about every game. I think he has.
And I'm going Nat Fyfe and Mitch McGovern. Okay,
Yep.
they're my 5.
Yep.
I mean,
I got Mitch in the team.
What about Brady Hoff?
You know what? I reckon 2 weeks ago I would have had him in. He's been fantastic. I really like Brady Hoff. I think he has a massive future. He might be a bit stiff, but I just reckon the last fortnight, it's
It's easy for me to throw darts now because I've named my team and so have you. But Mitch Duncan, if you're picking a team, you're picking Mitch Duncan, really, aren't you?
I can't find a space for him this year, right now in this team, mate.
And
normally, in previous years, yes.
Can I just say, Shea Bolton, Charlie.
What about Charlie Cameron? You got him in?
Yeah. So he's my forward.
Well, you got a team of 30.
No.
Oh.
I had Charlie Cameron, Jesse Hogan, Shea Bolton, but imagine, and Bobby Hill. So imagine a team, though, with Charlie Cameron, Bobby Hill, Shea Bolton, and Willie Rioli.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Willie's not
Now,
in the
that
WA
would be
team.
West Australian.
Yeah, but Willie's not in the WA team.
Well,
He was originally from...
Darwin.
Yeah.
Oh, the Tiwi Islands, you
Yeah.
reckon?
Yeah, I don't think he's originally WA,
Oh,
mate.
so what? Actually, you didn't tell me the rules. Then what's the rules?
It's a
Is it where you pay? You have to be
the
born.
rules.
Well, you
It's
have to be
the
born
State of
there?
Origin team.
What if I thought it was
Gotta be
where you
from
played
WA.
where you played your first game?
Oh, whatever the WA State of Origin was. Now you're making it up as you go along.
Michael Frederick, another one to think about. Jamie Cripps.
Like,
Anyway.
it's tough. It's always tough, and you can.
And who's the coach?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So you can be a coach, a senior coach, or an assistant coach.
Oh, so now you're making the rules up, are you?
I'm going J-Lo. I'm going J-Lo. He's had a good year.
They should re-sign J-Lo, eh?
They have to the end of next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like not worth the paper it's written on.
Yeah, okay.
Don't you think they should start talking about extending him?
I reckon. What's the point now? Just go along as you are.
Gives the place
You're
a
going
lift.
all right, Freo.
Yeah.
Why would that have to give the players a lift?
Well, because
Do it at the end of the year.
Because he obviously did the righty by copping that short contract. And so this is a gesture of good faith to him, gives him confidence, gives the
You know
players
what I reckon?
confidence.
Things are going beautifully at the moment. Just keep with what stick with what you're doing.
I'm ticking for coach. I'm thinking Dean Cox.
Oh yeah, good call.
Because then we can check out how he's travelling.
Yeah.
Dean Cox.
Who else?
Because you want to sack Zimmer.
Well, he'd be in the running, Dean Cox. I'd have a crack at Chris Scott.
Josh
too.
Carr.
I'd have a crack at Chris
Scott, you reckon?
I'd have a crack. Yeah.
He was over here.
Ash Hansen.
Nathan Buckley. If you're talking Eagles, I'm talking State of Origin.
Yeah.
So I'm going Josh Carr, Dean Cox, maybe to coach him. Ash Hansen back up. I'd let J-Lo have the weekends off. He's done enough. Mm-hmm. So my team was Powell, Taylor, Barras, Jordan Clark, McGovern, Nick Martin, Jeremy Sharp, Chad Warner, Blake Acres, Charlie Cameron, Jesse Hogan, Shea Bolton, Bobby Hill, Jake Waterman, Aaron Norton, and then either English or Jackson as the lead ruckman or on the bench, Elliot Yeo, Patrick Cripps, and I had Tim Kelly. I think I might leave Brad Hill out because I'm going to put some Dockers in, Nat Five, obviously Stephen Cornelio, one of the ruckmen, and maybe Bailey Banfield.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So who's your bench?
So it's Cornelio 1, Tim Kelly 2, Bailey Banfield 3, Nat 5 4, and either English or Jackson.
Okay, so my side is Mitch McGovern, Tom Barras, Sam Taylor from the back line, Jordan Clark, Jeremy McGovern, Nick Martin, Blake Acres, Elliot Yeo, Bradley Hill, Shai Bolton, Jesse Hogan, Luke Jackson, Bobby Hill, Jake Waterman, Charlie Cameron. The rucks, Tim English, Chad Warner, Patrick Cripps. Interchange, Tim Kelly, Will Powell, Liam Baker, Aaron Norton, and then Jeremy Sharp as the sub. That's the 5, isn't it? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know what? I could, if you worked on me, I could swap Tim Kelly out for Liam Baker on the bench.
Yeah, and I could find a way to get Cornelio into that as well if you worked on me. But let's just... And listen, I'll just add to it, just really quickly. I'll ask your opinion. So, State of Origin, only... I don't mind it, but only every 4 years. I think you need it to be... It can't be every year. It just won't work the way it's set up.
Every 4 years. So some players might miss their chance.
Okay, well, that's just the way it is. It's like the old national championships they used to have.
Like the Olympics, mate.
Yeah, that's right. Or the World Cup or whatever. So you have it every 4 years. You have it pre-season, and it has to go for a month, and they move it from state to state every 4 years.
Oh, so a full carnival.
Full carnival, yep. And Division 1, Division 2, there's promotion, relegation between them. And
so it's not just a week's work.
So I think that's the way to do it. But with the women, I think the AFLW needs one next year and every year. I reckon it would be fantastic to see AFLW State of Origin every single year. I think it'd add a new level of interest to the competition, and I think do it every year, start next year.
So the men are carnival every 4 years outside the season.
Yep, has to be.
Because it has to be.
And you've got to throw a
and pay them
truckload of money at it.
10 grand a game.
Truckload of money, like they do with State of Origin in the rugby league. Yep.
So that's over 2 million.
So you
per
obviously
team.
you think it should be more regular than every 4 years?
Well, yes. Just because imagine if you didn't have the opportunity to represent your state. I'm just not sure. I think they need almost a 2-week block in the middle of the season to do it. Mm-hmm. But you know, they do it in the NRL is a much more violent sport, a much more physically demanding sport in terms of contact.
They back up everything.
And those guys, they play
Origin,
midweek,
back it up
and
at
then
the weekend.
they back up on the
It's
weekend.
unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
They are restricting the games around Origin now, but yeah, you're quite right. Barra, let's pick some winners. But first, let's hear from Tim Walker from TABtouch.
Shorty's tips.
You've got some tips for us, Tim, starting with a player I just love, and I reckon Patrick Cripps is having a better season than his Brownlow year.
Yeah, you're not alone, and I tend to agree with you, and his last fortnight has been outstanding. So since Carlton's bye, he's amassed 81 disposals, 35 of them contested, and 28 clearances in the wins over Geelong and Richmond, and they've really bullied those teams. He's into $5 now to win the Brownlow medal, and he's right there alongside the likes of Dacos, Bontempelli and Heaney.
Yeah, Cripsy is coming, isn't he? Look, the cooler, it's pretty obvious who it is. What do you think's happened with the Giants from your perspective?
Yeah, look, the key thing for them has been the lack of ability to score. The defensive side of the game still in relatively good nick, but the scoring has been an issue, and they've only won 2 of their last 8 games since that Anzac Day night clash in Canberra with Brisbane, and now they're just in a battle to make the 8 itself. They're out to $15 to win the flag and $1.90 to make the top 8, so it is really line ball for them to feature in September.
Now, Shorty's been on fire this season with the hot punt. Don't let us down, Tim.
No, I'll try.
What are you going after?
I'll try and make the punters $1 or $2 this week. I think Sydney, they'll bounce back against St Kilda. Last week will be the thing that stings them into action this week. I think Brisbane will continue their winning ways on Adelaide. They'll take on Adelaide at the Gabba on Sunday afternoon. So I think both of those sides just to win, and the Port Adelaide Western Bulldogs one. I think this is the close one for the round. Either side by 24 points or less. $2.62 about that to unfold.
And looks like you don't think the Eagles will have a big response this weekend after that disappointing loss.
Yeah, it wasn't to be last weekend at Optus Stadium. The disappointing loss to Hawthorn, $4.90 out to $5.50 for the return clash against Melbourne at the G this week.
And our player to watch, Tim, it's been a bit of a bleak year for the Tigers, but Jacob Hopper going okay.
Yeah, and I like seeing him get back last week and getting a fair bit of the footy. 25 disposals against Carlton. He's going to be crucial to the Tigers being competitive against Freo this weekend. $2.12 for him to gather 25 disposals or more. I think that could be a way to play Saturday night's game where Fremantle are clearly a short price favourite.
Thanks, Tim. Good luck with your tips and good luck with the Demons.
Thanks, Quarters. Thanks, Barra. Great to be on.
Thank you, Tim. Barra, let's start with Friday night at the MCG, 5:40pm. Collingwood $1.58, Essendon $2.40. Essendon just tapered off a little bit, Barra. Collingwood had that loss on the road, which I picked, by the way, but I'm comfortable to pick Collingwood in this game. I think they're up and about. I'll allow them that loss last week. $1.58, $2.40. I think that's just about right pies for me. You?
Well, the Pies, haven't they got a heap of injuries now?
They've had a heap of injuries all season, Barra.
Yeah, I know.
They're still getting the job done.
McCreary, Josh Dacos, does he play? Now, I think they look starting to feel fragile now, and they lost on the weekend. Surely the Bombers lift, don't they, at the MCG on Friday night? I mean, everyone's saying that they're going to crumble like last year. Do you think they will crumble?
Who, Essendon?
Essendon, like last
I
year?
think they've crumbled. I just think they've tapered off. I think they
Same
play
thing, whatever term you
no,
wanna use.
crumble means just completely fall away. I don't
Like
think
last
that's
year
going to
they
happen.
fell out of the 8. Do you think they'll fall out of the 8?
No, I don't.
You don't?
But I don't think they'll finish top 4.
They don't leave.
That's probably the best way of
They
answering.
don't leave Victoria till the last
I know,
round, so
I
that's
know.
got to help.
Yeah.
I'm going
Don't
to go
write off the Pies,
I
mate.
feel-
The style of footy.
I know, but like their captain's struggling a bit now,
He
isn't he?
is. His intercept marks 2.5 per game, the fewest since 2018. So, yeah, that's fair. He is struggling a bit.
So I feel like the Bombers will lift for
Okay,
this
so
game.
you're picking the
I know
Bombers.
that it's going to be a heap of Pies people there, and it's going to be horrible, but I think I just got to give them one more go, and if they let me down this time, I'm right off them. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you're Essendon, I'm Collingwood. Saturday, 11:45am, Port Adelaide. At home, at Adelaide Oval, $2.95. V. The Western Bulldogs, $1.40. Western Bulldogs going along beautifully at the moment. Port Adelaide up and down, had a good win last week. The coach was emotional. Barra, I know I say this all the time, but I'm having one last crack at Port Adelaide. I like the way the Bulldogs are playing, but it's at home. They had the win. Yeah, I'm going to back them again. I worry about their forward line, to be honest, but I'm picking them at home.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. Willie Rioli should come in as well. That'll help your case. Ken Hinkley, they rallied for him. There is a coach where the players look like they played for him. Caleb Daniel, he's been amazing in the Rezzies. Does he get a game at all? And what did you think of Rory Lobb
Yeah, switching ends.
playing in the back line?
Had a few intercept marks. It was good.
Did you like that?
You did, yeah.
I wouldn't have thought he could do that, but,
He's a good contested mark, Rory Lobb.
That is flexibility. At the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide for me too.
Yeah, okay. Marvel Stadium, Saturday, 11:45 a.m. Geez, they're tough this week. North Melbourne, $2.95. The Suns, $1.40. Barra, the Suns, invincible at home. Can't win on the road. North Melbourne have been threatening to win one. Is this the one the Suns
Is this the
jag?
one quarter? Come on, you're the tipping guru.
I'm saying yes.
You're saying
I
yes?
think the Suns get up this week. They've got to win it if they're going to play finals for the first time in their history. Jeez,
Hang on. So you're saying the Suns are
I'm
going to
saying
win?
the
I thought
Suns-
you were about to say North are due.
I'm picking the Suns to win their first game on the road this year.
Oh, my God. Colby McKercher, I think we mentioned last week he'll be back, but he didn't. But he looks like he will this week. Now, I feel like North are close to a win, aren't they?
Yeah, there. So is Gold Coast on the road, though. Surely.
And do you see Damien Hardwick stirring the pot, coming out saying that Dusty, who knows, we're very close, and just feels
I'd
like...
be surprised by that.
Would you?
Yeah, he just looks to me like a one-club player. Good on him if he gets another year or two up there. And he looks a bit tired.
Is his love for the club bigger than his love for Damien Hardwick?
I think so.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Club's
going
bigger than the individual, Barry.
Mate,
you know that.
You're the good judge. So you're saying Suns, but I'm going North Melbourne.
Got a couple different this week. Now, what about this game? GMHBA, Saturday, 2:35 p.m. Geelong, $1.58. Hawthorn, $2.40. Hawthorn has played 2 games in Geelong in the past 18 years. One of them was in 2020 during the COVID situation. What I like about Hawthorn in this game is Hawthorn is now, they can win from stoppage, they can win from the back half, they can win from their forward half. You've got to be able to win from stoppage at Geelong. It's narrow, long ground. I think Hawthorn can do it. The question mark is, can they find a way to stop Tom Stewart? Tom Stewart's the key to this team. I know Danger's back and playing well, but we saw Tom Stewart had been nullified, so Geelong threw him into the middle last week. So what do Hawthorn do? I think they go with their plan A, as their team is right now, and just back themselves.
Bloody
But
oath.
if it starts going a bit pear-shaped, what do? Do they get a bit funky and move Josh Weddle onto Tom Stewart, which disrupts their team a bit? But if you can sort of nullify Tom Stewart, you can win.
So you're not bringing in the tagger.
Not for Tom Stewart. I'm relying on what you've got in there already. So
Warple?
yeah, look. So no. But I think Weddle's the man. He's got the big body and he's got the tank and he can play anywhere. But Luke Bruce in, Ginnivan in doubt, lower leg injury. Cal Shadir, question mark over ribs. We saw him get subbed out at the
Mitch
weekend.
Lewis comes in.
Mitch Lewis probably comes in. So if Lewis comes in, it helps you out a bit.
And they reckon Guthrie might play for Geelong, unless they're being super conservative. But surely you think Geelong down there.
So I'm picking the Hawks.
No, you don't. Rightio.
Who are you picking?
Is this... You're making another big move, eh?
I am.
I tell you what, we'll find out next
Fortune
week.
favours the brave, Barra.
No doubt about that.
Engie Stadium, Saturday, 5:30 p.m. The Giants, $2.20. Carlton, $1.67. Carlton has won 4 of its last 5 games against GWS by an average of 24 points. No Sam Taylor, no Kelly for the Giants, no GWS. Carlton win this one. They're going beautifully. You?
Yeah, well, Kelly's a massive out. So they've really struggled.
So is Taylor.
Yeah, but he's... Yeah, but... And they've lost someone else, haven't they? Cornelio came back, though. Yeah. Oh, what's happened to the Giants? I mean, they're out of the 8, you know. So maybe they're going to...
There's no big sound at the moment, Barra.
They drop this and there's a little bit of a wedge bit created.
It is, yes.
And Carlton, we're true believers.
By the way, Geelong Hawthorn, if Hawthorn wins, they're equal on points with Geelong. So there you go. Bigger.
Got to go the Blues, I guess.
Yep. Optus Saturday night, 6:10 p.m. The Fremantle Dockers in third place and going quite nicely. $1.07. Richmond, $8. As we said earlier, Brennan Cox looking to push his way back into that side.
Certainty.
Oh, you're picking Fremantle here pretty comfortably, aren't you, Barra?
Absolutely.
And Justin Longmuir's 100th game.
Dusty's not going to come over.
No, he's not. I think he's injured.
There's no chance that he'll come over here. So, in that case, yeah.
It's a bit of
They're living certainties.
Bit of a chance for Shea Bolton and Liam Baker to show their wares again.
Yeah, and stay around and have a few interviews. Liam Baker's been at West Coast.
I reckon Chad Warner's still a big chance to end up at Freo, mate. Big chance.
But not this contract. Surely not. He's out at the end of next year.
AFL is a different landscape these days.
It would only happen if they win the flag, Sydney.
They got 3 first-rounders to play with.
Yeah, but that he doesn't give a stuff about that.
Yeah.
He's thinking, I want to win a flag.
Well, they're every chance this year.
That's what I mean. I just said that.
So is Freo, by the way.
If they win the flag this year, Sydney, I reckon that's when you go all in on Chad. Go, Chaddy, you've done the job over there, mate. Come home, buddy. Here it is. Cost of living, not as much. Your brother's playing for East Fremantle. Your other brothers, he can come back as well if you like. Because when you're that big, you can actually ask for stuff to happen. Like, can you bring my brother back as well? And he'll come back and play for Fremantle as well. Or West Coast. He's a big West Coast man.
Who's your pick? Obviously, you're picking Freo to win this game.
Absolutely.
MCG, Sunday, 11:10 a.m. Melbourne, $1.15. West Coast Eagles, $5.50. I'm picking Melbourne, although you're never that confident these days with the Petrarca-deprived Melbourne. But what sort of a response are we going to see, Barra? We'll see something, surely.
Mate, they've been roasted, the players, and surely they'll feel better. Harley will feel a bit better. Kelly will feel a bit
From
better.
the week back.
Yeah. Yowie will, because you couldn't expect anything from Yowie. I mean, he's got more hurdles ahead, of course, but I wonder.
Tough time for him, yeah.
I wonder if he does go, maybe because there's preps on and.
Well, let's see what happens. But
time.
yeah, it's tough.
But yeah, there'll be. I'm backing them to have a response. I don't think they can win, but I'm backing them to have a response.
I'm thinking 30-point margin, Melbourne.
Yeah, maybe a little bit less for me, but.
Yeah. Okay, Sunday, 1:20 p.m. St Kilda, $3.65. Sydney Swans, $1.28. St Kilda really struggling, and now Max King out for the remainder of the season with that posterior cruciate ligament injury. I think Sydney wins this, mate, bounces back. They were all but one Logan McDonald kick from pulling off a miracle win against Freo last week. Would have been daylight robbery, to be honest, but showed enough wares to get themselves back into a game that they weren't really in. So they're a good side, Sydney. They'll win this, I think, quite comfortably at Marvel Stadium.
Someone was saying that when you're on a winning streak and then you drop one, you normally drop two. You don't normally just drop one and bounce back. So there's that factor.
Yep.
Maybe Sydney. I reckon the Saints. I'm not tipping them, but I reckon the Saints are a chance here.
Okay. So you bet you're picking Sydney. Last game of the round, Gabba Sunday. Brisbane Lions $1.22. Adelaide $4.25. Brisbane has lost just one of its last 27 matches against non-Victorian teams at the Gabba, with an average winning margin of 37 points, and playing pretty good football at the moment, Brisbane. I'm picking them. You?
Yeah, I didn't think they were super. They just got across the line.
Yeah, they did. But
that unbelievable kick from McCluggage. Holy crap, that was amazing.
Was it a free kick?
Yeah.
Neil Bullen?
It was pretty deliberate.
It was a very much debated in our house.
Mass debate.
Was it deliberate, or was he off balance and that was the momentum had forced him over? I don't know. It's an interesting one.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Anyway, mate, now it's time for this.
Saddle up your camel. It's time for the Thirsty Camel mailbag.
Thank you to Thirsty Camel, our long-time sponsor. And this week's special, Jim Beam White, Double Serve and Cola, 6.7%, a 10-pack, only $54.99. We have a $50 gift voucher to give away. Thanks to Thirsty Camel. Get your questions in for next week to quartersandbarra at wanews.com.au. Barra. Ashley from Morawa writes, just a quick one with regards to State of Origin. We all know it's dead in the water and it'll never be played again, but why can't the AFL name State of Origin teams at the end of the year as they do for the All-Australian team? The All-Australian team has never and will never play a game against anyone, but it's still named because it could be the highlight of someone's career to be named in that team. Similarly, being named in the State of Origin team could be someone's highlight of their career if they'll never be good enough for All-Australian honours. Cheers, guys, from Ash. It's a very good email, Ash. I hope that they do resurrect it once every 4 years, but if they don't...
Every 4 years.
Yeah, but if they don't, I reckon it's great. You get your WA Blazer or your Vic Blazer or your SA Blazer.
Mate, I resemble that email. Yeah, no doubt about it. Never be All-Australian.
Okay, so now a bit of a spray to you, mate.
Nice.
So, some bouquet.
Backhanded compliment?
Well, there's a bouquet and then a brickbat. And I'll have to shorten this mail. Keep them shorter if you can, please. G'day, fellas. Firstly, I'd like to say well done to Barra on his questions to Oscar Allen in the press conference. Someone has to hold the club accountable for where they're at. The notion that they keep repeating we are a young side is not that true. Yes, we're a young squad, but the players playing against Hawthorn were generally experienced players with a sprinkling of youth. Actually, Freo fielded the younger side in the comp last week, Barra, so there you go. It goes on. The rest of the year should be exploring the list. They have a number of players with some talent. Elite kicks of half-back and through the wings is a problem. My suggestion is Ryan Marrick permanently to half-back and give him the kicking duties to get the ball in his hands. Jinby to the other half-back flank. Chesser half-forward rotating through the midfield. He has a knack for getting in the right spot to kick a goal and seems better around the football. Cully to a wing. Tyler Brockman on the other wing. Jack Williams forward, ruck. Hall, Bugiel, Hewitt, True, all to get game time. Players that should not play again if we are serious. Darling, Gaff, Rotham, Witherdam, Sheed. With a watch and act over Cripps, Flynn, Hunt. I'd rather lose playing the actual kids than stuffing around with this hybrid model. Thanks again for the pod. I can't wait for it every week. Cheers. Al with the long driveway. Al, that's a great email.
Yeah, he's put some work into it, and I don't hate what he's saying. McGovern does the kick-ins, and very hard to beat McGovern for kick-ins.
Beautiful
he's almost the best in the AFL. Duggan back up. Maybe you could give the other fellow the chance there rather than Duggan. Chess is under the pump to keep his spot, I believe. And I suppose the club's saying we've got to maintain the integrity of selection a little bit in terms of we can't just play all the kids. That's what they're saying. But makes some good points, that guy.
Christopher writes, with anger, he notes.
With anger?
Today's press conference with Oscar Allen prompted this email today, and the finger is being pointed squarely at one A.W. Barrett. What's W?
William, mate.
Is it? Okay.
William St. John. Do you know what St. John is?
No. Sounds like a
it's actually
energy company.
It's actually spelt St. John.
Okay.
So it's actually St. John, but it's pronounced St. John.
I
believe. My wife doesn't believe that.
After who was that? Granddad was the
after St. John.
Oh, St. John.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh, very good. Barra, at the end of the presser, you said sorry to Oz. Please.
Oh, how did he know that?
Let me finish. He's what needs to have to say. You can't fire questions at the bloke and then apologise for asking them. Which are you? Journo, friend, ex-Eagle player?
All of the above.
A lot of you and your ex-Eagles cronies, Suma, Jacko, etc., all declaring their dislike for Simo and his coaching. Funny, they don't seem to point the finger at their old mate T. Nisbet, do they? Who arguably left the club in this mess. No doubt Simo is coming to the end of his days at West Coast, but what has he been left with? A diabolical playing list, a dysfunctional waffle side, and only just had a reasonable football department. Fitness.
Whoa.
That is a spray to everyone.
Savage.
Everyone.
Christopher.
How is the loud and constant criticism from these blokes helping their old club? Now, he does go on a bit, so I'm repeats it. I think we get the message. While I'm at it, as a member, I strongly advise the club to sever their partnership with Seven in the West for their nonsensical coverage over Harley Reid. As Carl Langdon said, it's going to drive him out of town with anger. Chris, Chris has had a crack.
Now, hang on. Not trying to distance myself from you blokes. But what is that? What is Seven's nonsensical coverage of
Harley? You haven't run
Harley?
any Harley Reid stuff?
Yeah, but not. Anyway, no comment.
By the way,
solidarity amongst men.
By the way, if you're pointing the finger, no one posts more stuff about Harley than the Eagles on their website.
Good point, mate.
So, if you're going to
struck a blow there. Christopher,
Chris.
just in my own defence, firstly, I don't know how you heard that I said, oh, mate. But, sorry about that, buddy, but I had to do it. That's basically what I was saying. I was saying, because I hadn't prepared Oscar, and I'm friends with Oscar and I really like him. I've got a lot of time for him, respect. So, in some ways, I should have said, mate, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Say no more. I'm going to have to go after you a bit about the players letting the coach down. But he spoke so brilliantly. So that was the reason I said that. I wasn't apologising for the question. I was just saying, look, mate, I'm sorry I didn't actually tip you off that this might happen, but you handled it very well. Didn't have a chance to go into it all. But when I saw his face, he was in a bit of shock, because it's the first time he's probably as co-captain really copped it. And he handled it so well, mate. He's a leader of men. And so is Duggan, by the way.
Yeah, they are. They are leaders of men, but that goes with the job, doesn't it? Answering the tough questions. So
yeah, and us asking him as well, mate.
Yeah, I agree. Well done.
I was on my own that day.
Well done to you. Well done to
you
Oscar.
went there and stuff.
And well done to
Left me
Liam.
out there.
Hi, Quarters and Barra. Feel bad for saying this, but Simpson has to go. The players have always been mentally soft under Simpson, and they underachieved with that premiership list. Time for a fresh start and some consistent toughness and grunt from the players. Matt from Mount Hawthorn.
No doubt.
There you go.
Between now and the end of the season, if they haven't lifted and continue to lift and have little hiccups, but generally head in the right direction, he's right.
Now, Barra, I'm torn. I've got two here. You may disagree with me. I like that email from Alan about actually praising you about the Oscar Allen questions, but also spent so much work looking about where the players should play.
He's definitely the
guy. Randall earlier in the week, who spoke about, rather than talk about how Sydney lost, can we recognise the great effort of the Fremantle coaches? That was a really good email too. Which one?
Well, you know what? The coaches were very good, mate. We gave them a clip in the Bulldogs game, the match committee, because they left the Bont free and they made Blues, but they bounced back and probably out-coached the Swans coaching crew. But I like the other fella.
Do you?
Yeah.
So we're going with Alan?
Yeah.
Okay, well done, Alan. You are this week's winner. Get your details into quartersandbarra@wanews.com.au.
An advertisement, the Women's Grand Final.
Oh, yes.
So the Waffle W Women's Grand Final. It's on at Joondalup at Pentanet Stadium, 2:05 or 2:08, I think it is. Claremont versus East Fremantle. It's going to be a big day. The two players that came first and second in the best and fairest in the Dara Kerr medal, Jamie Harkin and Zippy Fish.
Great headline name.
What a great name. Zippy Fish. Sephora is her proper name, but Zippy Fish. She's going to be...
likely to get drafted?
I reckon West Coast. She's probably first pick, actually. And I'm not sure how the system works in terms of what opportunities they get with local people, but she should be going in there. Zippy Fish. The other girl, Jamie Harkin, could too, but she's a bit older, and she said she's probably missed her window. She went back-to-back in the best and fairest, so it was 27 to 26. So if you love your footy and you want to get along Sunday, it's 2 o'clock at Joondalup, Pentanet Stadium, Claremont versus East Fremantle. There we go. Nice.
Well done. Good luck to the girls. Get down there and support them. You have been listening to Quarters and Barra. We have been brought to you by TABtouch. Got the touch? Download the TABtouch app today. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Thanks, Barra. Thanks for listening. Good luck with your tips. We'll see you next Tuesday.